24 billion kilometers from Earth, in the cold darkness between stars, drifts a machine the size of a small car. She left Earth on the 5th of September, 1977, 47 years ago. Her mission was designed to last 5 years, a flyby of Jupiter and Saturn, then silence. She has been traveling for nearly half a century. Voyager 1 is now farther from home than any object humanity has ever built. She moves at 61,000 kilometers per h-hour through a region of space where the Sunday's influence has faded to almost nothing, where cosmic radiation from distant dying stars replaces the solar wind, and where the silence is absolute, and she is dying. Distance at this scale becomes difficult to comprehend. 24 billion kilometers. 162 times the distance from Earth to the Sunday. Light, traveling at 300,000 kilometers per second, takes 22 hours and 28 minutes to reach her. When engineers at NASA's Deep Space Network send a command, they are not talking to Voyager in real time. They are sending instructions into the past, waiting for a response from a spacecraft that has already moved millions of kilometers farther away by the time the signal arrives. Round-trip communication, 45 hours. There is no conversation, only messages sent into the void and the hope of an answer. Voyager transmits at 23 watts, less power than a refrigerator light bulb. That signal spreads across 24 billion kilometers of vacuum, weakening as it travels, until it arrives at Earth with a strength of 0.1 billion billionths of a watt. NASA uses 70-meter radio dishes to catch it. The data rate is 160 bits per second, slower than a 1980s dial-up modem. Every byte she sends is a fragile whisper across an impossible distance. In August 2012, instruments aboard Voyager detected a shift. Solar particles dropped sharply. Galactic cosmic rays increased. She had crossed the heliopause, the boundary where the Sunday's influence ends and interstellar space begins. Voyager did not send a signal announcing the crossing. There was no alarm, no notification. She had no way of knowing she had just become the first human-made object to enter the space between stars. NASA took a year to confirm it. On the 12th of September, 2013, the announcement was made. Voyager 1 had left the solar system. After 35 years of travel, she had crossed a line no human technology had ever crossed before. And she kept moving. Her power supply is fading. Voyager runs on 3 radioisotope thermoelectric generators, nuclear batteries fueled by the decay of plutonium-238. At launch, they produced 470 watts. After 47 years, that output has fallen to roughly 249 watts. It drops by about 4 watts every year. The decay was expected. NASA has been rationing power since the 1990s. First, the cameras were shut down. Voyager took her last photograph on the 14th of February, 1990, the pale blue dot. Earth, seen from 6 billion kilometers away, a single pixel of light suspended in a sunbeam. Carl Sagan requested that image. He wanted humanity to see itself from the edge of the solar system, to understand the fragility of our world. From that distance, Earth occupied less than a single pixel. No continents were visible, no oceans, no cities, just light. Every war, every triumph, every person who ever lived, compressed into a fraction of a dot barely visible against the vastness of space. Then the heaters were turned off one by one. Some instruments froze and failed. Some survived. Then the primary thrusters were powered down. Voyager now relies on a backup set that had not fired in 37 years. Every system that is not absolutely critical to survival has been sacrificed. In late 2023, Voyager began sending back corrupted data, not science readings, not telemetry, gibberish, a repeating stream of meaningless code. The engineers had no way of knowing what had failed. They sent commands, waited 45 hours for a response. The gibberish continued. It took months to isolate the problem. A single chip in the flight data system had degraded after 46 years of cosmic radiation. They rewrote the code, routing data around the damaged hardware. 45 hours later, Voyager responded clearly. She was still alive, but the incident made something brutally clear. Voyager is not invincible. She is an aging machine, held together by 1970s electronics, operating at the absolute edge of failure. By 2025, NASA will begin shutting down the remaining science instruments. By 2030, perhaps sooner, there will not be enough power to run the transmitter. The signal will stop, And Voyager will keep drifting alone, in total silence, with no one listening and no way to call home. Bolted to the side of Voyager is a golden record, a 12-inch disc, plated in gold, etched with sounds and images from Earth, greetings in 55 languages, music from Mozart, Chuck Berry, and a Navajo chant. Sounds of rain, wind, a crying baby, a heartbeat, 16 images of life on Earth. Carl Sagan led the team that assembled it. They spent months deciding what to include, what sounds would represent humanity, what music would translate across species, across galaxies, across time. They recorded a mother kissing her child, footsteps, Lotta. A pulsar map showing Earth's location, etched in hydrogen wavelengths, assuming whoever finds it understands physics the way we do. They included brainwaves, actual electrical recordings of a human mind in love, thinking about what it means to exist. Andrew Yan, Sagan's collaborator and future wife, had her thoughts recorded while meditating on the history of Earth. Her neural activity is on that record, frozen in gold, drifting through interstellar space. The golden record was intended as a message to anyone who might find it. But Voyager is not headed toward anything. She is not aimed at a star. She is not on a trajectory to a planet. In 40,000 years, she will drift within 1.6 light years of a star called AC 79 3888, a red dwarf in the constellation Camelopardalis. No one has heard of it. It probably does not have planets. Voyager will not stop there. She will pass by and keep going. In 300 million years, she will complete one full orbit around the center of the Milky Way galaxy. By then, every human being who has ever lived will have been dead for 29999950 years. The golden record will still be intact. NASA estimates it will survive for 5 billion years, possibly longer. Voyager will outlast the Sunday. When our star expands into a red giant and incinerates Mercury, Venus, and Earth, Voyager will still be out there, drifting through the dark, carrying the last evidence that we ever existed. The Voyager program employed thousands of engineers, scientists, and technicians. Most of them are in their 70s and 80s now. Some have already died. The youngest person who worked on Voyager in 1977 would be at least 65 years old today. They built her with slide rules and hand-drawn schematics. They tested every system, every circuit, every line of code. They watched her launch from Cape Canaveral and tracked her across the solar system. For decades, they have listened to her signal, celebrated her discoveries, troubleshot her failures. They gave her 5 years, she gave them a lifetime. And now, many of them will not live to see the signal die. When the signal dies, probably sometime in the next 5 to 10 years, those who remain will sit in a control room and watch the telemetry flatline. No explosion, no dramatic failure, just silence. The last command will be sent. The last data packet will arrive, and then nothing. The engineers will wait. They will check the systems. They will retune the antennas. They will try again. And eventually, someone will have to say it. She's gone. But Voyager will not be gone. She will still be out there, drifting at 61,000 kilometers per hour through the interstellar medium, alone, unreachable, forgotten. The RTGs will decay completely within a few hundred years. The spacecraft will freeze to near absolute zero. The electronics will stop functioning. But the structure will remain a tumor relic, a message in a bottle thrown into an ocean, so vast that the word ocean is meaningless. Voyager will drift for 10 trillion years. 10 trillion years. The universe is 13.8 billion years old. Voyager will exist for 700 times longer than the universe has existed so far. By the time she finally succumbs to the slow erosion of cosmic radiation and micrometeorite impacts, the last stars in the universe will have burned out. Galaxies will have dissolved. Black holes will have evaporated. The universe will be dark, cold, and dead. And in that unimaginable future, in the final moments before the heat death of everything, Voyager will still be there, a speck of metal, a fossil. The last proof that once, on a small blue planet orbiting an unremarkable star, a species looked up and reached out. Right now, the signal is still alive. Barely, NASA listens every day. Engineers in California, Spain, and Australia point their dishes at a coordinate in space and wait. 22 hours and 28 minutes later, they hear it. A faint whisper from the edge of forever. Voyager is still talking, but not for much longer. When the signal dies, we will have lost the farthest sentinel humanity has ever placed in the cosmos. The universe does not care. Voyager will drift regardless. But we will know, and for the rest of human history, we will know that out there, 24 billion kilometers away and getting farther every second, a machine we built in 1977 is alone in the absolute dark, carrying our music, carrying our voices, carrying our hope into a void that will never answer. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.